What are we doing? Totally forget what we're doing. It's Chelsea at the movies! Yay!
We went and saw Alita Battle Angel.
We did.
At the movies.
Finally. I wanted to see Alita Battle Angel since, well, not when I first saw the first trailer, but it grew on me, and then I was like, I want to go see that movie. I think I'll like it.
I did not want to see it.
You did not want to see it.
But then, when the scores came out on Rotten Tomatoes, I was like, well, maybe it is good. Maybe I do want to see it.
I think it's officially a 60. Last time I checked. It's hovered between like 59 and 60. And I looked yesterday and it was 60 still, so fresh.
This movie is going to be hard to give a short summary of. It's about a cyborg. I don't know, that it's in the year...
Rachel hates the premise.
The 2563, I think, is when it was set. There's been some, big war, and Earth seems to be this now one city that's kind of a mess.
I don't really know. They don't explain the universe that they're showing to us.
Yeah.
There's just a story that relies on flashbacks to other parts of a story of a world that we don't really know that much about. But I thought it left you confused.
Well, let's give the summary first. So, the cyborg, there's this doctor, he goes to a scrapyard, he finds, this piece of a head of a cyborg, and then he takes it and makes it into a full cyborg, which cyborg is human and robot.
You gotta stop saying the word cyborg.
Well, that's what it is. I don't know what else to say. What do you want me to call him?
I don't know. I just feel like you're really honed in on that cyborg.
We're never going to get through this synopsis.
Cyborg.
You see how hard this movie is to summarize?
Let me summarize.
Okay, you try. You go.
So, and we're not going to say the whole movie. Basically, the premise is this doctor finds in this junkyard a leftover remains of what Rachel terms as a cyborg, which is what they call in their movie. We think she has a human brain and the rest of her are cybernetic parts. And he finds her, he puts her together.
They have a relationship.
It's in the future, and it's a sci-fi movie, and it's awesome. Go see it. I say go see it.
Go wait or skip, Kelsey.
I say go see it. I love this movie so much. I realize it's got 60 in that, there's some parts of this movie that are... I feel like they tried to fit a 4-hour movie into 2.5 hours, but I enjoyed the movie. It reminds me of The Phantom Menace. I affectionately love The Phantom Menace, but I feel like this is going to be a cult classic and could lead to further sequels down the line.
I say wait on this movie. I did enjoy it, and it was clearly set up for a sequel. I will go see the next one because
I'll see all of them forever.
I find it was a good movie. It was interesting. It was just, for me, the storyline was really convoluted, so I felt like the beginning of the movie I sat there confused for quite a while, and that affected my enjoyment of the entire film.
Yeah. Spoilers. This has nothing... I have no smart quippy. This movie is crazy convoluted.
Seemed really convoluted.
There's a lot of different plot points going on.
You're like, wait, where? It's like, okay, so you're set in 2563, but it's like this industrial, city.
I saw a space battle on the moon.
You find
a flashback, and I was like, this is awesome.
You find out later that you can leave the city and it's jungle and trees, and you're
beautiful out there.
Why are all these people huddled into this
that.
Dirty city that's all broke down, as if everything fell apart on the earth that human beings couldn't rebuild across the earth. It just didn't make any sense.
There's so much going on. There's so many different villains and different characters that have arcs in the story. At least kind of have arcs. They have story arcs, but maybe not earned arcs. I thought that the biggest thing in this movie was how lovable the primary character is, which is the girl / cyborg named Alita. She's given that name. Just her story, it reminds me, it's kind of like a modern Pinocchio, right? Is she real? And she has questions about who she is and what kind of life she can have. And that's something I think everybody at one time in their life has these kind of questions. And I don't know, I didn't look too much into the person who played this cyborg or how they did that. But it was clear to me that they did a great, fantastic job in putting all this together to make her look not real, but also give her qualities where you could feel a connection to her as a living being.
I don't know. There was just a lot of questions for me, and so the beginning of the movie, I was like, okay, she has a human brain, but that's it. How we find out that she was involved in this great battle. Where she was a warrior, and it was 300 years ago. how did her brain survive for 300 years? Like, I don't know, because later, like at some point in the movie, I'm like, why is she eating? And then they answer that, and they're like, he's like, your brain needs nourishment, eat. And I'm like, okay, but it's been 300 years. Like, a human brain can't just be alive for 300 years.
My question for you, I guess, is why is this kind of stuff any different from the kind of stuff that we see in Star Wars, which you love, and don't keep you from enjoying the movies? Like, we see stuff in Star Wars that makes absolutely no sense. We even have plots in Star Wars that don't connect to each other, but in those situations,
I grew up with Star Wars, and so it's different growing up as a child, like with something. I don't know, maybe somebody sees Star Wars for the first time. I mean, plenty of people are hung up on lots of like inconsistencies in Star Wars. This was brand new, and then you're trying your very first movie right out of the gate, like you're trying to it was over the top because there was so much in it, and it was hard for me to connect. So like the doctor and the girl Alita, like he names her Alita, which is after his daughter that died. The first body that she has is his daughter's old like mechanical body that she was going to have but never got to use. But then later she gets a new body, and then I felt like they never like revisited that storyline, and I was like, am I supposed to feel like they're father-daughter? Or because she kind of is pretty independent by the end of the movie, and it feels like in the next sequel, like the doctor could just not be in it because it's going to be her and the primary villain. Yeah. Like, I don't know, it just lost me. And then because they made her where she had really big eyes, and I didn't know like why they did that because I thought there was like more of a disconnect there. I also had a little bit of a problem with like the giant eye thing, just because I feel like women have to live up to things like all the time that they can't physically like ever be. So women are walking around like with this like crazy like eye makeup, fake eyelashes all the time so they can have giant eyes. And then I felt like that's what they did like in this movie. I was like, why would her eyes be so big? I don't understand. Like,
she's gotta see. She's a badass.
Maybe she's just a warrior, and it was part of like her thing. It did seem like in the flashbacks that the other female warrior she was fighting on the moon with had the similar like eyes. Yeah. But like, I don't know. It was just like a lot of stuff. They had another character, which was the doctor's wife, maybe ex-wife. And they tried to have like an emotional moment with her, but it didn't land.
Yeah, it didn't
so
land.
You made like, you said it after the movie, you were like, well, maybe it was a 4-hour movie and it got edited down and we missed. Like,
there was
that's
also
what we're
some
missing.
Like on the nose exposition, especially with the Hunter Warrior with the dogs.
Yeah.
He was like, I helped you because I like dogs too, basically. And you're like, we got that from the thing.
Yeah, you didn't.
So there were some. It wasn't like this movie isn't clunky. Again, it reminded me kind of of the Phantom Menace, which is a movie that I like to watch. But that movie also seems, a lot happens in this movie. But at the same time, you're like, it seems a little long. Seems like maybe you should have made 2 movies here. Phantom Menace isn't quite like that, but it has the same kind of feeling when you watch it. But Phantom Menace did have a lot of like really awesome, cool things I've never seen before when I saw it, and so did this movie. I really like this movie, and I think that this is a good example of the Rotten Tomatoes score live. Except it's not live. You know what I'm saying? On video of people that just disagree. And I guess my position is that I think it's a really good movie. I think it's the start of something awesome, and anybody who doesn't think that is dumb.
I will also say that seeing all the trailers for this movie, I thought this movie was for a younger demographic, much like movies like Maze Runner, Hunger Games, Twilight. Now, lots of people love all those movies, lots of people of all different ages, but I think we can all look at them and be like, well, they're skewed for a younger demographic. I thought this movie was also like that. Once we got in there, when the previews started, I was like, huh. I was like, I hope kids don't come because they shouldn't see these trailers that are, playing. And then when the movie, I was like, oh, some of this is kind of violent. Not like over the top. Like, it was just like a little where you'd be like, well, this isn't for younger people, like youth, like necessarily. I mean, I don't know. Parents take their kids to all kinds of stuff. But like saying generally. And like she starts out in the beginning and you think she's like a teen. But then like they find out that she's older. And by the end of the movie, she's I mean, she's just a full-on woman, and like she's very like independent, knows exactly what she wants to do, and then like she seeks out like this relationship because she's fallen in love with this human. It felt very adult to me, like the whole relationship. Like at the beginning it didn't, and then at the end it did. It was like a really intense scene when she like went into his room, and then she takes her heart to like, she's like, I'd give it to you. I thought that was a really adult, intense scene. Not that it was, you know, R-rated or anything.
Yeah,
she does say F your mercy at one point, so they got like their PG-13 F word in there. The trailer set me up for something, and then when I got to the movie, I had to like navigate all that to figure out what I was there for, and I think it hurt my enjoyment of the movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not a perfect movie by any sense of the word. The trailers did depict a different kind of movie than it turned out to be. It's more like it's more a sci-fi genre than, like you said, a movie for kind of the teen. I would say that those other movies are kind of directed towards teens or younger people like that. And this movie was definitely for everybody, I think. I mean, obviously not small children. Like you wouldn't take a child. You can do whatever you want. But I mean, I wouldn't take my child to this movie because it was pretty violent and stuff like that. But it wasn't. It was cartoonish violence in a way because everything
there was
looked
so much
so different.
CGI, yeah.
Anyway, I like this movie a lot, so go see it. If you want to go see it with me in 3D, because Rachel can't watch stuff in 3D, I'll go with you, depending on who you are. But you know what you can do, no matter who you are, is like, comment, and subscribe. When you like, comment, and subscribe, it makes grass grow outside. That's a fact that not many people know. Hey, yo. You know, a lot of you people out there... Well, actually, I have no idea if that number's correct.
Okay. It's 2500s. I know that.
Around, it's like 300 years from now, at least. 600 years from now. It's a long time from now.
It was the 2500s. So, I mean, that's like 5,000 years ahead.
Yeah, because it said 26th century Fox at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't understand our math in any of this.
Well, 20th century.
I didn't mean, 500 years. Yeah, that's what I meant, not 5,000. Anyway.
You said 5,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
At first, I was like, wait, that can't make sense. A century's 100.